and welcome to Fae Finders, a Dungeon and Dragons podcast navigating listeners into the vague and supernatural. My name is Kai, and I will be your dungeon master for campaign Amnesia. And with me, I have the amazing Amancio.
Hello.
The joyous Jupiter.
Hi.
The kind Caitlin.
Hello, everyone.
And last but not least, the stupendous Sam.
Bonjour.
Now, without further ado, let's see what we can remember. Okay, so, quick recap. You guys finally, after a very long roundabout way of doing so, made your way to the capital city. You actually managed to get an audience with the king, Nia, of course, being a great help with that, and came to quickly realize that he may not have been what you were expecting to get confronted face to face with a king. He very quickly was very hospitable, as well as he was eager to kind of find out exactly what was going on and where everything stood. He led Nia down to the library after a quick chat of finding out that things didn't go quite as they originally should have, in which you found a little bit more information within your tome that has been by your side since the beginning. From there, you decided that Nia decided that you guys needed to trust each other more, trust the king. And you guys decided that after a dinner, in order to replenish the spirits, you wanted to go back down to the library to do some more digging. And that is where we left you. So, before you is a well laid out feast, many extravagant dishes filled with different types of meats, different types of vegetables cooked all different ways. And even still, there are the occasional servant that comes out in order to either pour some wine or offer, a small little palette of arranged fruits and nuts, or whatever you guys wish to ask for. At the head of the table sits the king, and he is watching all of you, but mainly watching Nia. Though he does not say anything, he is... You can definitely tell he is very excited to see his daughter alive and well before him as he eats from the plate in front of him. So, is there any conversations to be had by you guys while you eat, or?
I think Celine is still just processing everything that we just discovered already and still wants to really go into like the Night Stalker stuff because she's like, there can't be nothing. This has to be like either a creature of Baltog that's going to cause them some problems, or like there has to be something more to this creature with all the like lore that had been talked about in the first city that we were at, which is named
Newport Killam.
Exactly, that's what I said. Yes. So she's pondering and just takes kind of an assortment of all the goods on the table and is very much hitting the wine.
Okay. Anyone else? Or are you guys just all kind of eating?
Nisha would be sitting there, like, very intently, like, staring into her glass of wine, kind of swirling it around, and trying to think of, with all the information they have now, if there's anything else she could possibly, like, pick out of her brain, something that would stand out that could be beneficial to them moving forward.
Sure. I'm gonna get you to make a history check.
First roll of the night, let's do this.
You got it. Kill it.
15.
15. Okay. Kind of going through everything, specifically the fact that while each of you got your mark, Farron's is still technically unknown. You do recall, while you don't recall who, you do recall somebody mentioning an old god of the Fey realm that was long forgotten.
Remembering this, she's going to set her glass down on the table and then look towards the king. Sorry to interrupt this magnificent feast. Are you one to know much of the history of the gods, perchance? Do you dabble?
He sets down his utensils and kind of clears his throat and looks over at you. I mean, I've read quite a few of the books downstairs. I can't say that I'm very good at gods, other than the ones that we work with here.
Absolutely fair. Do you, by any chance, and if not, don't stress, have any recollection of an old god from the Fey realms? Perhaps long forgotten or misdirected?
You see him open his mouth to answer, and then he closes it and kind of thinks for a moment. And then he opens it again and takes in a deep breath, and then stops himself and sits and thinks for a little bit more.
You are among friends here and trusted companions. There's nothing you can say that wouldn't help our cause.
Oh, it's not that. No, not at all. Just trying to remember, and it's on the tip of my tongue. And then it's gone. So, yes, but let me come back to it.
Perhaps the name is enchanted. Perhaps it's a spell or a curse that is making it so that you cannot remember.
He kind of chuckles a little bit. He's like, that is a very high possibility.
Perhaps we should try and find old Fey volumes.
I think I've got a few of those. At least I remember reading one. Maybe two.
That'd be most helpful.
And I'd certainly be delighted to take a look as well.
Perhaps then after we're done eating.
Yes, I do believe this is the first really solid meal we've had in a while, so best enjoy it.
Of course. I've of course prepared all of your favorites. Well, had the kitchen prepare them. I didn't do anything, but that's neither here nor there. Enjoy, please. And once we are done, we can take this conversation to a little bit more of a private location. And you see him pick up his utensils and go back to finishing his plate. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to discuss while you were eating, or are you guys just kind of finishing your meal and then...
I think just quiet contemplation and then finishing eating and finishing probably
Yeah,
two more bottles
bottles of wine for the
glasses.
table.
Bottles!
Tonight's notes, Solene done get trashed.
2 more glasses. That's only 4 glasses tonight. She's stressed.
It's a lot of glasses.
For like not that size. For like fancy dinner party size. She's having a rough go.
Okay.
There will be no judgment at this time.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Anyone else? Or are you guys just basically just trying to get through your enjoyable meal?
Neo probably would have been eating kind of slowly while also just kind of like looking around and taking it all in. Kind of just like thinking about how like she's supposed to know this place so well and it's doesn't feel right to not know, and then like making eye contact with her father and like smiling and eating and just taking it all in.
Sounds good.
Like was said, is just happy to have a solid meal sitting in front of him at the table. So he's mostly intent on his food, but you know, when the mention of Fey volumes was brought up, his attention was piqued. But now he's back to the potatoes.
You guys finish up your meal. Dessert is brought out. It is a very light dessert of mostly mixed berries, a little bit of cream, like whipped cream, and what would be equivalent to like a sponge cake, but a little bit more dense. Kind of like a mix between a sponge and a shortcake, if anything. So after that, he doesn't really say much between, you know, each portion. He does, you know, bark a few orders. Well, not bark, I should say. He does pass off a few orders to some of the staff as they come in and out. And they happily, you know, go about their business. He doesn't seem to, like, mistreat them. And it looks like he's actually employed quite a few different races within his his castle here. You've seen all manners of tieflings, halflings. You've seen quite a few elves, as well as, of course, humans. Each of them kind of having their own role. And
Yes. Equal opportunity for all to serve the king his supper.
yes, exactly. We don't discriminate here.
Can I do an insight check into his genuine nature?
Sure. Go ahead and roll an insight check.
When he's talking to people, can I see, like, if he's actually, like, being kind or if he's putting on airs? 15?
15. Okay. From what you gather is that some of it seems to be, like, his tone in particular seems to be more of, like, a kind of courtly air. But the genuine, like, lightheartedness behind it is is there. Like, it's an actual manor of his.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, as you guys finish up your feast, the one you see this Furbolg kind of walk in, and kind of scruffy pink hair, long kind of mane style that sweeps over to one side atop her head, and she's got very simple clothing of, like, you know, just a typical kind of maid's gown with an apron over top, and she stops by the king and kind of leans down and whispers in his ear, and he smiles and shakes his head, and she gives a small bow and then backs away. From there, he stands up and says, "Shall we? I know you guys are eager."
Absolutely. Please lead the way.
All right. So, leading you back towards the throne room that he had initially led Mia, he opens up the secret wall in behind the throne itself and leads you guys down these stairs. And down you guys all traverse until you get to the bottom, and you guys are left in a pretty decent sized library lined with books upon books upon books. In comparison to the one in Zaham, this one is about twice its size.
Can I start specifically looking around to see if I can find any books on old Fey gods?
Sure. Make an investigation check.
Can I assist with that?
Sure.
Lovely.
Well, that's kind of cocked between a 2 and a 20, so I'm just gonna roll that again. 6 plus 1 is a 7. Do I do, like, an advantage with assist?
I'm gonna say it's individual rolls, because each of you are kind of, even though, like, you guys are investigating together and you're kind of able to kind of section off areas of the library, being like, okay, you look here, I'll look here. Mm-hmm. It's still an individual
like what
check.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, understood. In that case, I have well, that's a nat 1.
Oh no.
That one. Okay. Yeah, you guys are having a hard time kind of going through, like, the mass amount of different kind of spines, even writing. There's, like, one point where you think you found something, but then you open it up and it's more about, like, children's tales than it is about actual frickin' the Fey gods. Although, you know, as you're kind of going, you start to notice that there's some weird, like, easiest way to describe it is relics that are kind of haphazardly situated along the shelves. You see, like, a pair of old glasses that have clouded over and have been scratched, and it's broken in one little place. You see, you know, a weird jar of cloudy liquid with something floating in it that you're not quite sure what it is at first glance. You also see, you know, a couple swords and shields and knights, or armors for knights that have kind of been situated around, and a lot of it looks reminiscent of a very old time past.
Can I do a history to see if the swords and armor are from a particular culture?
Sure.
Okay. No, I'm not going to use those ones. Those ones didn't do good for me. Let's do the blue dice. Oh, much better. 13?
13. Okay. What you can make out, and like you're still not too familiar, but from the difference of what you've seen in your travels as you've kind of made your way around the cities here, traveling with your companions, it doesn't look like anything of Mirdon or of Veshtir. So whatever, like wherever these particular pieces came from, it either came from maybe Calferny. It also could have come from the Ilmandu Islands. It's hard to say.
Okay. Can't even really tell if we're in the right spot, Farron.
You know, I'm starting to wonder the same thing. I'm turning up empty. I saw a good recipe, I think, a couple books back, but I should have remembered where I put that one down. I don't think I'd be able to find it again.
Well, maybe we can try and recreate something another time. The only thing I found is a children's tale about a beanstalk and an ogre.
Well, I mean, that ogre could be the night stalking beast we're searching for, but
I don't think so. This one lived in the sky.
that would make it a mite different there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just slightly.
Well, if you two are turning up nothing as of yet, I'll throw my hat in the ring. And Nisha starts to follow along the bookcase for any titles that might jump out at her.
Okay. Are you looking for something specific?
I am looking for something for old gods or anything that mentions the Fey realm.
Okay.
Would that be investigation?
Investigation, yes.
17 for a 22.
22. Okay. So you start kind of perusing through the shelves, and you quickly pick up that there is actually some kind of organization to the way that the shelves are arranged. It doesn't make sense at first glance, but as you kind of go through each one carefully, you kind of start to pick up on the pattern, and eventually you do get to the place that mentions religion, and from there you're able to kind of go through and pick out the information of the warring time. In there, you do find mention that Kaloon, who was a lesser fragment of light, so basically not necessarily a demigod, but more of like a lesser god in comparison to the four main fragments of light, which were Varuna, Sa, Hako, and Eos. Kaloon was actually in love with a god named Rarik. Rarik was the one who was attributed to the creation of the Fey realm. And so when the warring time came upon, where the gods basically fought over whether or not mortals were going to remain on the material plane, it was said that Kaloon actually, while a lot of the lesser fragments of light sided with the fragments of light, Kaloon actually sided with Rarik, who majorly wanted to remain neutral. Rarick was actually not, even though they were a fragment of dark, they were not of the notion that the dark had to be evil or it had to be bad, which is why the Fey realm, as twisted and chaotic as it is still a thing of beauty. And it is said that during the war between the gods, it's not clear as to exactly how it transpired, but it is said that Kaloon actually struck down Rarick. And when Beltog found out that Rarick had fallen, they had tried to essentially reanimate their companion, and instead it became the Night Stalker.
Upon reading that, Nisha is going to audibly gasp. Everyone, this is the book. And then she relays everything mentioning Kaloon and Rarick and the Night Stalker to everyone in the room.
So it's not a type of being, it's just the one.
Sounds like it all went horribly wrong.
And we've been close to this thing?
Once.
And who's to say it didn't follow us?
Well, it would seem that it couldn't possibly have followed us with our teleporting.
We have no idea how. I mean, the amount of power that something like this could have, we have no way of knowing, but it could very well be more so than anything that we would conceive of. So I don't think we can discount it that easily.
True.
Weren't the Night Stalker attacks pretty limited to around the mountain? I might be wrong about that, but...
Just in Port Killam is the only place that it's been an issue, but perhaps if the mountain is close to Port Killam, maybe it knew we were there, or it was perhaps following Nia?
Or perhaps Rarick isn't the only one they tried to reanimate.
That could be true. In a war of the gods, who knows how many allies Beltog lost and tried to bring back.
Well, this is very ill news. Your Highness, may we take this book?
I'm sorry, Celine. I can't allow the books to leave this area. If people found out that we still had them, well, there'd be an uprising.
Perhaps I may copy down some pages in my personal notebook.
I'll allow that.
Thank you. And I'm gonna start, just like go sit in a corner and kind of like copy down all the stuff about the Fey gods and the Night Stalker, like all the information that I can possibly get, just so that we have it for reference.
Okay, sounds good. I will send you that info later.
Thank you.
Because I actually have it all written down.
Good! As you
Yay
should.
me. Well, I mean, it's going to be relevant in season 4, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, moving on.
Preview!
Spoiler alert.
No spoilers.
Nisha just kind of hangs her head. I know that the Night Stalker is not good, but I can't help but feel how bestrodden and downfelt they would feel, knowing that their love, Kaloon, struck them down in battle. When they were trying to be neutral, how did that even begin?
I wonder perhaps if the Night Stalker even has any feelings anymore anyways, because it clearly came back very wrong. Who's to say if it has memories? But if it does, perhaps we could sway it to not want to destroy everything.
I would think that with the stories that we've heard, I don't think there's any reasoning with it.
If it is receptive to reason, I feel like that would make its actions all the more reprehensible.
I would agree on that front.
Well, that's going to be another task on our list of never-ending things to get done.
And perhaps when we seal Beltog, the Night Stalker will go with him.
Perhaps. But perhaps not if this is a cycle. I think we might need to figure out how to break it rather than just put the bandage on again.
Agreed.
No more of your descendants should have to suffer through this.
I wonder then if that's why Kaloon struck Rarick down so callously. Did they know something about sealing this evil away?
All is fair in love and war.
All right. Is there anything else you guys would like to search for down here?
Perhaps. Oh, shit. I'm putting some together, perhaps, or I'm completely off base. If Rarick was responsible for creating the Fey Realm, and by extension, perhaps, the creatures that dwell within it, could we assume, then, that the Fallen are the corrupted creatures from the Fey Realm, and by extension, be Fey themselves?
The king, who's been kind of going through a few books himself, kind of stops and peeks out from behind the next aisle, looks at you. I remember something about that. I do.
Well, please share.
Well, the book said, what book was it? And he kind of, you see him disappear for a second and kind of flip through. And he pulls a book out and kind of starts going through the pages of it. And he's like, yes, it should be here. Where's the page? And you can see he's like kind of flipping back and forth between the same page as though looking for another page that isn't there.
A page that has been removed, perhaps?
Yes. He kind of turns the book around and you can see that the page has very clearly been torn out from the book. Well, it was here. Something to do with the Fae following after Rarick. And then that's when Ravala Keep showed up in the forest.
Farron! What do you remember?
Not much about this, I don't think.
Nothing at all about your ancestors or your family history within the dwellings?
I remember that I was trying to get us back. But, DM, do I remember anything? Does this jog any memories?
So you do remember, as far back as when you were a child, that you have always lived in Jalen Forest. You don't remember a time before that. At least you don't remember a time of being anywhere else. You had overheard some conversations as to whether or not there was a home to go back to. There were some speculations that the Feywilds may have collapsed. But that's all they were, was speculations. Nobody could confirm whether or not that was the case, because nobody could actually make it back to the Feywilds in order to actually be able to confirm that for themselves.
Yeah. I mean, as far back as I can remember, I don't remember anyone going to or coming from the Feywilds, so I mean, it could be a very real possibility that the whole thing rotted away with the death of Rarick and his followers in the Fey, but I can't say for certain. Though if that is true, then it could be that the whole reason I set out to do this in the first place, you know, allegedly, could be for nothing.
Or perhaps you or your family knew something about restoring Rarick and therefore restoring the Feywilds?
I mean, it would be lovely if I could, but your guess is as good as mine insofar as how to go about doing that.
All of these answers just lead to more questions, and questions that we don't even know how to find the answers to, and answers that don't even make sense without the questions that we didn't know to ask.
Your Majesty, with that page missing, who else has access to this place?
I mean, only myself and Nashatania here. Even the servants don't know about it.
Nia, do you have any scrap papers, perhaps, that you have found or in your bag that you've misplaced? You didn't really know where it came from?
Yeah, you have been carrying around information about restoring a dead god. Have you?
DM, do I?
If you want to take a look through your bag, you do have a piece of paper, but it is not anything regarding restoring a Fey god.
Oh yeah, I'll take a look through my bag, and I'll also like flip through my tome and see if there's any like stray papers.
Okay. So you flip through your tome, and you do not find any stray papers. Everything has been perfectly made to be in this tome. And in your bag, there is only the initial piece of parchment that you had found when you first woke up.
Oh, was that a blank piece of parchment, or is there something on it?
There was a bit of writing on it.
What did it say?
Oh gosh, you're making me
I'm
go
so
back
sorry.
through my notes.
We need to know.
How dare you?
We need to know.
So it says, "You are but a fragment of something meant to be whole. When you find who you are, you will find what you need to be complete."
I read that out to the party.
I think we are meant to be the ones to break the cycle.
I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. It could just be talking about how we have to find the fragments and bring them together to seal Beltalk.
But it just seems that this time is different. It's been different in every way. How did we lose our memories? How did we come to be looking for the fragments rather than just simply sacrificing you? How have we been doing all of these things in order to save the world without your death? I think without your death, that's how we save the world. I truly believe that you dying just continues this cycle and makes it somebody else's problem later down the line. I do not think that that is the way. We have to break the
I
cycle.
understand, but if it comes down to it, as I said, if it comes down to it, I will not sacrifice the world for myself.
I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to save the world indefinitely, rather than putting a salve on a gaping wound.
And a festering one at that. One that's eating away at your family. One that's eating away at, well, let's put it this way. Like Lady Milliette here said, you put a Band-Aid on a rotting open wound, you're just covering up something that's only going to get worse.
And not just your own family, everyone in the entire world. Not even just our realms. The Fey realm was destroyed because of this war. Perhaps, we don't know for sure, but so much has been taken away from this. We have the power to fix it.
Speaking of powers to fix things, Solene, Nia, do either of you possess the power to potentially restore memories now that you have more awareness?
I was looking into it, and the only memory loss spells, incantations, the only ones that we know of in the mortal worlds, just take memories away for a day or two. Taking away an entire lifetime is beyond our mortal capacity, and it was done by a god, is what I assume from that.
I wouldn't doubt it in our case, but I was more thinking of Mr. Majesty here. If Nia doesn't have that page, and Nia and her father are the only ones to have access to this space, perhaps he took the page and has been made to forget that he made such a decision.
I could do my best to undo that. I can try with the notes that I had found in my room. To take away a day is very simple, according to past me.
And that's just it. We haven't been here long. If there were information someone wanted to keep hidden from us, 48 hours of time is plenty of time to hide it.
Very true. Let's make an attempt. If we can do nothing but make a best effort, then I'm happy to do that. Your Majesty, would you permit me to enter your mind?
Specifically to do what?
Specifically to just see if you're missing any time. And to see if I can trace a date that you would have been missing. Not to look into anything personal or private, but just to see if there's anything that might have been lost, to then recover it.
I'll allow it.
Thank you. I'm going to pop into his mind and see if in the last, let's say, week, if there's any missing days. Because how long have we been adventuring, guys? It's been like a weekish? Since we woke up?
It's been roughly about, I'd say 2 weeks almost.
Okay. Can I check that much? Can I pop through his brain for the past 2 weeks?
Make a investigation check.
Okay. Oh, guys, send good vibes. This is a big deal. Okay. 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 Oh! 19!
19. Okay. Is that
Spirit
with your
fingers.
modifier?
It is, yes. I got 18 plus 1. Spirit fingers indeed. Bring the magic.
Okay. So, you, when you first enter the king's mind, you get the initial thoughts of, I don't know about this. I know she's done it before, but it, I don't like it. But he lets you push past those surface thoughts regardless. And as you kind of dig deeper into the last 2 weeks, you do see that a lot of it has been him basically going about his duties, but you can see that there's a different air to him, in the way he talks and the way he addresses people that approach him, specifically the staff. It's nothing super negative, but you can tell there's not that usual liveliness that you've seen in the last couple hours with him. And you see him go down into the library quite a few times, a handful of times at least within the last 2 weeks, when nobody else was around or nobody was there to bother him. More specifically late at night, if anything. And you do see him kind of, reading through general books here and there, stuff about just anything, whether it be, the mining boom in California, whether it be, the trade history of the Ilmandu Islands, things like that. And while you're kind of specifically searching for anything to do with him tearing out a page in a book, it doesn't look like he has any memory of doing so, nor does it. Well, make an insight check, actually.
To see if he's, missing time?
Yeah. Just to see if you can surmise whether or not, time is flowing properly through his memories.
Okay.
Because, of course, nobody remembers everything perfectly, right?
For sure, sure. Okay, guys. 17 plus 5!
Okay.
Which is quick maths. Who knows 17?
22.
Okay, 22! Oh, God.
All right. Yeah, so you definitely get the sense that while his memory may not be perfect, it doesn't seem like there's any purposely missing gaps of time.
Okay. Okay. Can I use that same insight to see if there looks like there's any magical barriers around his mind?
I would say that's probably more an Arcana check if you want to surmise that.
I would. See if there's any magical barriers around his mind to stop exactly what I'm doing from getting the truth. Okay, we have to exhaust all the resources, guys. Okay. 11 plus 5 is 16.
16. Okay. You do not sense any kind of magic that would be keeping him from being able to remember anything, or you out from specific memories.
Okay, so there's no, magical barrier on his mind, full stop.
No.
Okay. Okay, I'll pop out of his brain, and I'll give a nice little, head nod, half bow kind of thing, and say, "Thank you so much, Your Majesty. I apologize greatly for the intrusion. It does not seem to me that you are missing any days or have any spells or barriers on your mind, so it definitely wasn't you who'd ripped out the book."
Whew, that's a relief.
Indeed.
The question is, who did? Or was it gone? No? I do remember reading that page. I don't think it's gone. Well, it's gone, but...
When was the last time you saw it?
And you see him kind of, like, look up and cross his arms and think for a moment. Probably before you guys left.
Can I... Have I ever had access to this library?
No.
I see.
No. Well, the Academy has its own library, specifically designated towards the books that you sorcerers and magic people need. There is no access to this one except for me and Nashatanya.
Can I like focus in on my memory and try to recall if I could have taken the page but like not put it in my bag for some reason?
Like, hid it away?
Yeah.
Sure. Just roll an intelligence check.
Natural 19. I don't know if I have any modifiers or anything for that. No, plus 0, so 19.
19. Okay. You think back, specifically trying to remember the time period that your father had said, like before you had left with the group here to go on your pilgrimage. And you do recall reading through the book, but you cannot recall if you had taken the page, and if you had, why you would have taken that page.
Can I do like a memory assist? Can I like pop in to Nia's mind and try to see if I can like read the page from her brain?
Nia, would you allow it?
I was gonna do something. I was gonna see if I could remember if I ever brought anybody into the library with me.
Okay, sure. I will say, kind of just going along that train of thought. Are you specifically like thinking about the same time frame, or are you thinking like further back?
Like about the same time frame, specifically with any members of the party.
Okay. I'll just say the 19 stands then, as you kind of like are following that train of thought. You do not recall bringing anyone down to this library.
I remember reading this book, but I don't remember tearing the page, and I wondered if perhaps I brought one of you down here with me, but I don't recall ever bringing any of you to the library. I don't know who could have taken the page or where it could have gone.
Perhaps maybe it would be beneficial for us all to check our bags just in case.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. Worst thing is that we just wouldn't find it.
Very true. And also, Nia, perhaps I can try to read the page through your memory. Maybe it'll help to have someone else's eyes looking through your eyes.
No, I think if I can't remember the page in my own memory, I don't know that anyone else going in would help.
I respect your decision. Alright. And Celine's just gonna like dump out her shit and just rifle.
Okay.
Nisha is also going to.
All right.
Farron is gonna check just for, for good measure.
Okay, sounds good.
Farron sus. That was a
so you guys-
sussy answer.
That was also a sussy DM laugh.
That was a super sussy answer. Farron, can I see if he's really looking? Because, like, Soline just, like, yeeted her stuff on the floor, is seeing that Nisha is, like, doing it. Can I see if Farron's looking properly?
Sure. Roll an insight check. Farron,
gonna.
you can roll a persuasion or a deception, whatever you prefer. Or whatever it is for you. Don't say.
Okay, I won't say.
Or maybe you shouldn't roll at all, because if you're not being sussy, you wouldn't need to hide.
No, it's still a thing.
Okay. Does 13 plus 5 is
18.
is an 18 do it, Farron?
No.
What? What did you get?
Doesn't matter.
Yes, because I don't trust this.
I got a 24.
Damn.
What?
Your deception.
Hey. No.
It's deception or persuasion.
Oh,
you don't know.
Okay.
And you can see Farron is also dumping all his stuff on the ground and rooting through it.
Okay. Farron's sus. Farron is the imposter. I don't trust Farron. Just the whole way, Amancio, that you said, oh, Farron's gonna do it for good measure. That's sussy.
You can be suspicious if you'd like, but Farron just genuinely doesn't believe that he would have it.
Well, Soline can't be sussy because you look like you're really doing it, but Sam is very sussy. Soline trusts you still.
Great. And that's what matters. At the end of the day, that's what matters.
For now. For now, you watch your back. Okay. Did I find anything?
You guys all rummage through your bags. You find the same piece of parchment that Nia had pulled out. But other than that, and your any kind of like magical materials, you do not find anything that would belong to this book.
When you say same piece of parchment, is it just a blank piece of parchment?
No, it's like a small piece of parchment with the writing on it.
Gotcha. Sorry. Brain didn't work for a sec. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. No luck on mine.
I got nothing here.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could say I had it, but unfortunately, nothing.
Farron, this must hit you very difficult. With your family being so heavily tied to... Nobody... Stop laughing, Kai! As I was saying, with your family being so heavily connected to Rourke, and your ancestors having been a part of the war.
I mean, it certainly doesn't. It doesn't go down nice. That's for one thing. But I think if we are to break this cycle, it's going to involve either putting Rourke to rest or finding some way to restore him and the Feywild along with him. And if that's not possible, then, well, that's just something that I haven't let enter my mind quite yet, I suppose.
And you have all your memories back, Farron. Are you most certain that you can't remember anything else that might be of use to us in our mission?
I don't have everything. I've got most of it, but you know when when you have amnesia and then you get all your memories back at once, and you gotta kind of put them all. You had a place for them all before, and now you don't have a place for them, and you gotta find places for them, and things fall through the cracks. It's a lot like that actually, believe it or not. And I'm what I can grasp and what I can understand. None of it really it goes beyond what we already know here. I mean, sure. Do I have a connection to Turek? Yeah, absolutely. But do I know anything about him being a Night Stalker or how to restore the Feywild? I'm sorry to say I'm a little lost on that.
A thought has just struck me. If the Fae were on the side of Baltog, and Rourke was fighting on his side, would it potentially be wise to restore them if it would simply only add to more destruction and chaos if Baltog is not permanently dealt with?
You're right. I mean, we could very well end up bolstering Baltog's numbers, and so I think our primary concern, as was before, should still be Nia's safety and doing whatever we can to prevent, well,
The destruction of all living things on this world.
Oh, well, yeah, and also Nia losing her life, but both things very bad.
Yes, they truly are.
The king kind of pipes up and he's like, well, if you guys are able to save my daughter, I'd forever be in your debt. So, yeah, maybe try to do that.
I want to make it abundantly clear, and I kind of side-eye Farron, that my top priority and my guarantee is that I will not allow any harm to come to Nia, under any circumstances or from anyone.
I know, Solene. You've proven that over and over again, and I appreciate it.
And I intend to prove it once more. Tenfold.
Wonderful. Well, it is getting late. Are you guys intending to stay down here for a little bit more, or are you guys ready to go to bed?
I think we've gleaned what knowledge we can, and I think rest would be good for all of us.
All right, then. All right. I will, I'll have, Matilda bring you guys to your rooms. And you can see he's starting to get a little uncomfortable with the way that the conversation's going. But you can also see, there is a tiredness that is starting to weigh on him, and he's quite ready to go to bed himself. So he leads you guys all upstairs and out of the throne room back into the banquet hall, where the Furbolg that had stepped forward with the pink hair steps forward once again and kind of gives you, Nia, a small bow. Your chambers are ready, if you are.
I would like for us to stay together tonight.
Of course. Well, I mean, your chambers are connected, if that suits you fine.
I think the connected chambers will be fine.
Great. And she looks to Nisha and Farron. Will you each require a separate room?
Nisha kind of looks over to Solene, knowing that she's internally panicking about the idea of only having a connected room. Solene, is it alright if I bunk with you this evening?
Please do. And then I'm actually going to pop into your mind and say, I think we have something to discuss.
Nisha's just going to nod.
All right. Well, I've got 4 rooms. Well, technically 2. I've rearranged your room, Princess, as well as your room, Celine. If you guys need anything, please let me know. And she starts heading down the hall towards a spiraled staircase that you can see that goes up.
Before they leave the room, Nia's gonna walk over to her father and grasp one of his hands in both of hers, smile at him, and give him a kiss on the cheek, and then follow Matilda.
He just gives you a big smile back as you leave, and he turns to head down the opposite way. So, following Matilda, you guys make your way up to the second floor, where there are actually quite a number of doors. You gather that this is more than likely the sleeping quarters for a lot of the staff, from what you can tell. You do see a few of the servants kind of coming and going, either pulling out bed sheets or what to look to be bed sheets, as well as clothing that has been washed and aired. You guys do see that it is a little bit more simply decorated in comparison to when you guys had first walked in and towards the banquet hall and the throne room. But you guys are led past all of that to where it does start to become a little more secluded. And it is here that you guys are shown to 4 individual rooms. So Celine and Nia, your rooms are right next to each other with a door to conjoin them. Farron, you are shown one right across from Nia's room, and Nisha, you are shown to a room just next door to Celine.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Please, again, if there's anything, just let me know. All you have to do is just ring there's a cord with a bell, I'll hear it. And she gives a small little curtsy and then patters off back towards the servants' quarters. You guys are now alone.
Well, I think this was a very informative day.
I'll say, but it at a bit of a loss as to what our next move is going to be.
Well, I think that we still are requiring to regain my memories and fragment, as well as Nia's memories and fragment. I think that still needs to be the priority, as it seems that's what our goal is in not having to sacrifice Nia. So I think in the morning we should find where both of us need to be for our fragments. Seems to be a personal home place.
Yeah, it has been so far, but still don't have any idea what triggers it. Regardless, I'm interested to see how it comes about for you, because I can say personally it was quite an emotionally distressing experience.
I can imagine.
I'm so looking forward to it then.
Perhaps after a good rest we'll feel more full-hearted in the morning, ready to face this next challenge.
I do want to speak to all of you before we go to bed. I understand that you want to save my life, and of course I don't want to die. I don't want to leave whatever life it was that I had. And I heard the promise that you made to my father, Celine, to protect me. But I need all of you to swear to me that if what we're trying does not work, that if it comes down to the world or me, that you will not stop me. Like I said, I could not live with myself if I lived but the world burned. And we will try until the very last second to keep me alive and to do it a different way. But if I can at least, like you said, put a band-aid on a festering wound for a little bit longer so that perhaps you can live and research so that the next one doesn't have to die, I'm okay with that. My father told me that this was my choice, that I went to this willingly.
Nisha takes a really long, hard look at Nia and then places her hand on her fragment. I swear on my blade that I will not put you before the fate of the world. But I promise we will exhaust all options first.
I would expect nothing less.
Nia, your life is in your hands. And if you want to make this sacrifice, we can't stop you, but we will do everything in our power to stop you from having to make that decision. But if it comes down to it, and that's a mighty big if, I respect your decision.
And I pray that it won't come to it. And then she turns and makes eye contact with Celine.
And Celine makes deep eye contact with Nia and takes a very deep, stabilizing breath. I will not promise to not exhaust every possible alternative. I will promise to make sure that you do not have to die. And I promise to protect you on every step of the way. And I promise to not let you die needlessly when there are other options. And I promise to ensure that your life still has meaning and value after everything that happens and might happen. But I will promise that should there be absolutely no other choice, that every eventuality has been every other possibility has been exhausted. If you have to die to save the world, I will run into the fire with you, and I will make sure that you fulfill your goal. But I will not allow that if there is any other choice. That is the last resort.
It will be the last resort.
Good.
And then Nia will just like hold her hand out to Celine and then turn to Nisha and hold her other hand out and be like,
I'm just gonna run and hug you. We're here now. I'm just going for it. Full embrace. Embracing Nisha too.
Nisha she looks at the top of Celine's head and then over to Nia to see how Nia's taking it before she decides to put her arm around Nia as well.
Nia's fine. And she'll turn and make eye contact with Farron and just raise her eyebrows.
And Farron gets in there as well.
Aww. Okay, so you guys have a big powwow and you hug it out and everything is good.
We needed that.
So
Yeah.
you did. When they all separate, Nia will just be like, all right, everybody get some rest and then let's go save the world.
Let's go save the world. Sleep well. And if you need anything, Nia, just knock on my door. Or don't even knock, just come in.
Okay.
So you guys are all heading to bed?
Not just yet.
Okay. So just to confirm, Farron, are you going to your own room?
Yes.
All right. And then Nia's in her room. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, perfect. Celine. What are you doing staying up?
Once we get isolated into the chamber, I am going to lock the door and gesture for Nia to come over to the sitting area. And I'm going to say in a whisper, do you mind us having a conversation mind to mind? I really don't want to be overheard.
And Nisha sits down in a nearby chair, kind of like slouching a little bit, and then just points to her head, and then gives Solene a thumbs up.
Nisha, I have trepidations about Farron, in the sense that his god that has marked him is not Saw, and his village is a worshipper of Rorik. Perhaps he is connected through that bond. And that would be most dangerous for us now.
We don't have anything confirmed. I'm not going to disagree entirely. But we know Farron's people were creations of Rorik. And that there were some factions that did in fact worship. But we don't know if that's true of Farron's keep.
I know. But we're just getting so close now, and anything that could go wrong, we need to ensure does not go wrong.
So we keep an eye on it. But don't let nerves this close to endgame get the better of you. And I know you're not, because that's why we're having this conversation right now. But for clarification, we'll keep an eye on things, and together we will handle things, but only on a need basis.
Yes. This is why I wanted to confide in you my suspicion. I didn't want to confront until anything actually came up, but I just am not sure if his intentions are pure, and myself not having memories and him having most memories is disheartening at this time.
I can understand, but even for myself, having my full memories, there's still a lot of fog associated with it. Some things are crystal clear, and others leave a lot to be desired. The Farron we know now may or may not be privy to condemning information.
True. I just want us to be on the same page of watchfulness.
Absolutely. I will keep a ready eye and a steady hand, and we will deal with this as we need to.
Yes. And we will find out who his god is.
Yes, also that.
Thank you for being such a good friend.
Of course. Do you think you will find sleep easy? Would you like me to stay until you do?
I think I should be alright if you want to head to your own room, or whatever you wish to do.
There has been so much that's come to us all in dreams that I feel sleep is imperative.
Very true. Might peruse my old rooms. You know, this is where I lived. Maybe this is my place. And perhaps I will discover something of value within my chambers.
Perhaps you have that page stored away somewhere.
Perhaps I do. That would be quite an ill-fated omen, if I was the one to have taken it, but if I find it, I will inform you all.
Of course. Rest easy, and don't stay up too late. I don't want to be a nag, but we'll rely on you too.
And we rely heavily on you. Nisha, you've been our rock.
You say things that are far too kind, and it makes me uncomfortable. She stands up and starts to head towards the door.
Sleep well.
And you.
All right, so is everybody heading to bed?
Nia probably would have just taken a quick spin around her room, just kind of like picking random stuff up off of like tables and stuff. And like, oh yeah, this is mine. but is pretty sleepy, and so would head to bed probably within like 10 minutes of getting into the room.
Okay. Farron?
Yes, Farron's also just heading to bed. Gonna do some meditating. Going to think really hard and see if he can remember anything about Rarick.
I sure hope he does. I don't trust
Road
you,
work
Kai.
ahead. I sure hope so.
I don't trust you, Kai. I think we have a surprise villain.
So, you guys all head to sleep?
Do we sleep?
You do. You all sleep. Except for you, Soline.
I knew it! Okay. I'm ready. I'm not ready. I'm ready.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Panic and stress.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So,
I don't sleep.
you fall asleep, and when the dream starts, or at least you're sure it's a dream, you are very conscious that you're asleep. It's kind of that weird half awake, half asleep state. And you hear a scream. And instantly you bolt from bed through the connecting door to Nia's room. And you see her sitting up in bed. And she's holding the back of her neck. Just like she always is every time you have this dream. And you go towards her. And as you do, Nia, you become very aware that Soline is now in your room.
Oh god.
Is she asleep? She's not asleep. She's awake.
She's sitting up in bed, awake.
But am I dreaming still right now? But I thought I was... Oh, wait.
You think so?
This was a premonition!
So, Nia, you are sitting up in bed. The mark on the back of your neck is burning. And Soline has stormed through your door as though woken from a very deep sleep.
Nia,
Celine?
I had a premonition of this exact moment. I've dreamed of this exact moment.
Oh, okay. Nia's just kind of hands kind of in front of her, kind of like making like shh motions. Take a deep breath. What happened in your dream?
I couldn't save you.
Save me from what?
It's... myself?
Nia kind of scoots over in the bed and is like, come, sit down.
Soline will. In my dream, I rushed in, and your mark had been glowing, and I was trying to save you. And then myself appeared to me. Nia, I have to tell you something that I really didn't want to have to. But I have sort of not another personality per se, but I have another part of me inside of myself that I think she remembers everything, but is blocking me from remembering everything. And I don't know. And if something is about to happen tonight and you're going to be in danger, Or if I'm going to do something to you that I don't know, I have no answers, and I just want you safe.
Nia stares at her for a long moment. If that's the part of you that you're feeling is that you want to keep me safe, then I'll be fine.
Well, this is the person who I actually am and know myself to be at this time, but I don't know what else is inside my head that is telling me that I just simply don't want to remember, that I'm not ready to remember, that I'm not going to be able to save you. I see her in reflective surfaces. She speaks to me. And this is very scary that this was a premonition of this moment. That I dreamed of this moment. And I don't know what it means. But at least this time you woke up.
I woke up and I'm fine, Celine.
Did your mark hurt? Is that what woke you up?
I think so.
As far as you're aware, you just remember becoming conscious to the fact that Celine was in your room and you had your hand on the back of your neck.
I mean, really, when I became aware, I had my hand on the back of my neck and you were in my room, and that's all I really know.
Well, my deepest apologies for disturbing you while you were sleeping.
It's all right. I'm sure in the state of a nightmare, there's no way for you to tell. You thought something might be hurting me.
Yes.
And as you guys are chatting, Nia, you see what looks to be yourself, but longer hair and a little bit more traditional garbs, kind of pass through the door into the hallway, as though like apparating from thin air for a brief moment.
Do I see it too?
Nope.
Okay. Perhaps, Nia, are we sharing a dream? I don't know if I actually woke up.
Perhaps. I'll be back, Celine, and then Nia gets up and heads to the door to follow the apparition she saw.
Shall I not follow you?
I'm honestly not sure what's going on, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Can I follow you?
Well, safety in numbers, I suppose.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys head out into the hall. Nia, you kind of look down one way and then down the other, and you catch but just a glimpse of that long golden hair kind of turn the corner and head down towards the way that Matilda had brought you up through the servants' quarters.
I start walking that way quite quickly.
I'm keeping pace.
Okay. So you guys quickly follow after her, and regardless of how fast you go, she always seems to always be that much ahead of you. It's just that little glimpse of either, a trail of her gown or a lock of her hair as she turns the corner and leads you down back towards the throne room. And as she goes through the door and you follow after her, you see her sitting next to the throne, as though on her own in one that no longer exists. And she just looks at the two of you, hands folded neatly in her lap, looking almost the spitting image of Nia, but a little bit older and longer blonde hair, and a little bit more, what's the word? Lost in time.
It's Nia's past incarnation! Can I see?
Nope.
Ugh.
You cannot see her.
Okay. Nia, what brought us here?
Perhaps a ghost. And I walk right up to the imaginary throne that she's sitting on.
As you approach her, she looks at you and smiles and dips her head. And as she looks back up, it's almost like within the blink of an eye, she is no longer on the throne, but at the door behind the throne that leads down to that library that's hidden. And she backs up the 2 steps that it takes to pass through where that doorway is and disappears out of sight again.
I continue to follow.
I'm going to.
Okay. So you guys head down into the library after her. And this time, even though it's a rounded staircase, she's always within sight, just out of reach. But you can still see her full form. It's no longer just those glimpses. And as you come down to the landing, she is gone from your sight for just a moment as your eyes kind of adjust to the different lighting down here from the darkness of the stairwell into a little bit more of a brighter area. And as you look up, you find her standing behind the pedestal that your father had got you to set your tome on initially when he had first brought you down. And her hands just kind of gently rest on it. And she doesn't say anything. She just kind of looks at you with this almost serene look.
I approach the pedestal and look at her for a moment. What do you want?
Her lips do not move, but you hear her voice as clear as day nonetheless. You have already given me what I want. You have made up your mind. It is a matter of whether or not you are ready to take on this responsibility of leading a kingdom should this succeed. Because, as far as I am aware, you currently only have your sights set on death.
My sights aren't only set on death. I do not want people to choose one life over the entire world. I'll fight till the very end, and I hope we succeed, but I cannot let the world burn so that I can live.
I understand that. And I do appreciate that you understand the weight of all of this. However, many have tried to find the fragments before you, and none have succeeded. So what makes you any different than they, if all you can see is the death at the end of all of this?
I don't know. It's the most honest answer I can give.
Well, it takes a brave soul in order to admit that. So, place your tome upon the pedestal.
Puts the tome down.
And as soon as you put the tome down, she waves her hand over it, and it opens, and the pages flip by, as though blown in a non-existent wind, or a sourceless wind down here. And Solene, you can now see her.
Nia, look, who is she?
I don't know. That was going to be my next question.
Apologies to the both of you. And her form shifts away, and before you is a more older woman, white hair, and a little bit frail looking almost, and yet she still has a regality to her. And Nia, you recognize her as Eos from the statues that you've seen.
Eos. And she kind of bows a little bit before her.
Please, there is no need for such formalities. I am the one who chose you. Solene, you are as much entwined with Nashatania as you are with your own deity. Varuna would be proud to see how far you have come and how well you have been able to follow the path that we have set before you.
I have been trying my absolute best. My priority, and always will be my priority, is Nia's safety.
That is wonderful to hear. But have you ever thought of what you wanted for yourself?
Not in the last 2 weeks. I don't remember what I would have wanted. So much of our journey thus far has just been saving the world, and that's been all-encompassing. I haven't thought about myself at all, really, other than my other self. But here we are.
Your other self? Ah, yes. I would not worry too much on them. They are but a mere shadow of you. One that tries to control, but ultimately cannot.
I've noticed.
So, here is my offer to the two of you. You can either choose to find out why you have lost all your memories and have had to start over, and why the fragments have chosen you, or you can remember who you used to be before all of this started. Unfortunately, I do not have the power for both.
Nia, what would you like?
Both could be useful. Obviously, knowing who we are is... it could bring important information. But also could knowing why we were chosen. What do you think?
I think that why we were chosen is probably more important, and how to fulfill our mission and why we lost our memories is probably more important right now than knowing who we were. Because as much as knowing who we were is a part of us, we are growing ever still, and will be the people that we are now.
Is that your final answer?
Can we only choose for ourselves, or we have to choose together?
You must choose together.
Nia, are you sure you can live without remembering who you were?
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here.
This is such a hard choice.
Yeah.
I want to know personally who Solene was. But I think that it's better for our...
Get out of here with that evil.
I think it's better for our current mission to know why we were chosen, because that can lead to, like, how to utilize it. And
I think our memories could do the same thing, though.
Do you think so?
I mean, we don't know what our memories hold, so it's like we could be choosing to answer just like 1 or 2 questions versus like answering dozens.
Yeah.
I'd probably go with getting the memories back.
Oh no! I don't know, because like I feel like choosing to know why we were chosen and how we lost our memories, maybe how we lost our memories could lead us to figuring out how to get them back ourselves. Because we can kind of like reverse, like Uno reverse that. Maybe?
I feel like Kai wouldn't make it that easy.
No, I feel like I wouldn't make it that easy either.
Oh, it's not supposed to be.
I know. I would say I would probably go with memories back.
Okay. Solene, do you agree?
Solene hasn't decided yet, but Sam disagrees, so I don't know what to do. I'm so scared, because this is such a big thing, like, to know, like, why we were chosen, and how we lost our memories.
Let's do this. Sam?
Yeah.
Roll a d20.
Okay. 5.
5. Okay. Continue.
Okay.
I'm stressed.
Yeah, I feel like the why and the how are important. 'Cause, like, if knowing who we were, what if that changes our goals? 'Cause, like, okay, actually, can I ask Eos really quickly? Eos, is this just for me and Nia? If we decide to get our memories back and know who we were before, does that also go to our party members? Is that also going to have Farron and Nisha remember who they were?
Their deities have already restored whatever they can.
I see. Ultimately, Nia, Eos is your god and your deity. I don't think that it would be right for me to try to overrule your decision. My fragment is yet to be restored, and I have yet to go through my trial. I concede my decision on you.
Going into the possibility of the end of the world, I want to have my memories. I want to know who I am.
I think it's wise to choose to know why we were chosen and to know how we lost our memories, but again, I concede. If you feel that you need to know who you were, I accept your decision.
And Nia will turn to Eos and be like, show us who we were.
All right. And she touches the tome on the pedestal, and it flashes a bright white light. And for the moment that you're blinded, memories start to come back. You remember having arguments with your father about people he insisted weren't there. How you had always been able to see spirits, the dead, all around you, and for the longest time you had a hard time discerning the two, and you felt so dismissed. But as you grew up and as you learned to be able to differentiate between a spirit and a living person, that rift started to become smaller and smaller as your father grew less and less worried. And then Celine showed up. And she was different, and you couldn't place how, but you knew that there was something about her that just was unlike anyone else you had ever run into. And because of it, you were so intrigued by her, and you needed to get to know her. You needed to figure out what was different, whether or not it was the fact that she was surrounded by spirits all the time, or whether it was something about her personality or something about her nature. And the biggest thing that you remember loving about Soline is that she never treated you like a princess. She never really kind of gave you that gentleness that everyone kind of seemed to like around you, trying to, tiptoe around the bush, so to say. She was upfront, she was honest, and you remember that when she came to you and asked if you would sponsor her to be your champion, you wholeheartedly agreed, knowing that she could not lift a sword. And she had no talent with horses or horseback riding or anything of that sort. Archery, swordplay, it was not her forte. But regardless, you still wanted to see her succeed, if only to keep her at your side as long as possible. And then the memory gets a little hazy. You try to focus in on it, and though you're right there in front of it, it's like looking through frosted glass. You can see blurred shapes doing something. You pick out the colors that are reminiscent of your room, and you pick out hushed voices that are distorted, as though almost listening through water, but nothing that is clear enough to make out. And then you remember sitting in the stand and watching Soline go through this tournament that your father had set up to choose your champion, and her dominating her opponents with her magic. And a lot of them, though fighting back with magic that was on par, never seemed to stand a chance against her. And then you watch as she seems to finally meet her foe, her equal in magic. As the moon rises and the clouds clear, and the light seems to spotlight on Soline, and you watch as her eyes go white and that white streak in her bangs appear. And then there's a flash of light, and she is the only one standing in the ring, her opponent fallen on the ground. And for a moment, the stadium is silent, as it seems like they have to take a moment in order to remember exactly what happened, or to even comprehend exactly what happened. And then there's cheers all around. And you rush down to the stadium, and you catch Solene just as she faints. Solene, as this white light kind of blinds your vision, you remember a lot, but every single memory is filled with Nia. You don't remember anything before you came to the castle, before the servants took you in and basically gave you a home and a place to be. You kind of helped out where you could for your age, and as you grew, you, by request, became Nia's right hand, her attendant. And as you grew, you knew that there was the possibility that that was no longer going to be an option for you, and you wanted to do anything in order to be able to stay by her side, to defeat fate at all odds. And so you tried with a sword, you tried with a bow, anything that you could get your hands on that could possibly give you some kind of edge, some kind of advantage. And yet you were clumsy, you were thin, and no knight would take you on in order to train you, as you were more of a hazard than anything. But you were naturally good with magic. Even just the small little things seemed to come naturally to you. And so you had run into this old lady in the village, and she had taught you basic stuff, how to create fire, how to mend things, and you took to it instantly. And so she recommended that you attend Aosim Academy, and learn more there if you intended to pursue the magical arts. But that would mean leaving Nia's side, and you couldn't do that. So you desperately tried to make friends within the academy, within, even the king's own mages, in order to kind of glean any kind of advancement that you could do beyond what already had been taught. And so when you heard of the upcoming tournament in order to choose a champion, you leapt at the chance to participate, asking to allow magic users for the first time in probably all of history, from what you were aware, to be allowed to enter. The king did accept reluctantly, as long as there was somebody who was willing to sponsor you that was not Nia. And to your surprise, one of the teachers at the Aosim Academy that you had been speaking with the years leading up to this decided to do so. And so you and a few other mages were allowed to compete. And then it goes hazy. It's, you know, you're in your room, you know, you're pacing, you can see like yourself blurred, but you're pretty sure you're walking back and forth, muttering something. And then you're standing in that tournament in the ring, the crowd roaring around you. And all you can remember is just praying that whatever happens, that it was meant to be, that it was supposed to be fate. And the next thing you remember is waking up in Nia's arms as she looks down at you with a bright, wide smile, telling you that you had won and that you were her champion. And as the light fades, Eos is no longer standing in the library, and you are back in the very dim-lit area. The tome, while still glowing ever so slightly, not quite as bright as it used to be, or as it was.
It seems we have quite the codependency, don't we, Nia?
Apparently so. I think I might need to get away from you at this point.
You can try. Do you feel satisfaction in knowing our past?
Yes. It answered a few questions that I had.
Good. I am glad. I hope we can have the trust that we did when, well, I suppose we are still the same and not the same, but I hope we can have that trust.
Yes. I think we can.
And I will try not to be as smothering as I have been these past 2 weeks.
I know it comes from a good place, but I am an adult.
And I remember that you hate that. We can go back to the way that we were.
Yes. And Nia holds out her hand for Celine to take and grabs her tome and starts heading out of the library.
Back to bed.
Back to bed. To get the sleeps.
To get the sleeps. You need it. You're looking very tired.
So, as you grab Soline's hand, you start to make your way up towards the throne room, up the stairs, and as the door opens to the throne room, you blink and you're waking up in your bed. Celine, you in yours. And even though when you kind of sit there and think about it, you know it was a dream, your hands are still outstretched as though grasping the other. And that's where we'll end tonight.
Woo!
Oh my god.
Woo!
Thank you so much for tuning in to Campaign Amnesia. And remember, new episodes air every third Sunday of the month at noon. And be sure to check out our other adventures by searching Fayfinders wherever you tune into your podcasts. Until next time.